The NBA can be absolutely hilarious. Let's face it, it's one of the best leagues on the planet, if not the very best. You never know exactly what you might see, and let's just say what happens next might surprise you more than you expect. Since the dawn of time, there's been one thing that NBA fans have been up in arms about, and that's NBA All-Star Weekend. Well, maybe not the entire weekend, but you guys get my point. Time and time again, I've seen fans complain about just about everything that has to do with the All-Star Weekend, except the actual three-point shootout. I think for the most part, fans are content with that and they understand it. I mean, let's be honest, shooting the three ball is a thing of beauty and it should be treated as such. But I mean, how lucky are we? We're afforded the luxury to watch some of the best three-point shooters in the NBA right now go head to head in a game of nothing but skill, no variables, just a ball, a basket, and a chance to show off hours upon hours of sweat and hard work. Some of these guys are some of the best three-point shooters of all time. But you don't have to take my word for it. They have the numbers to back it up. And just this season, more records are being broken than you know. But I mean, even with the three-point contest, I've seen people complain about its participants. And don't get me started about the dunk contest. You either hate the dunk contest or you love it. We've seen the dunk contest change so much over the past decade. I've seen dunks that I thought I'd never see before. But honestly, even that isn't enough for some people. Perhaps they'd be more excited if it was a layup contest. I mean, hey, whoever has the best jelly shouldn't be slept on. About 10 years ago, we saw All-Star Weekend implement a game of horse. We saw Kevin Durant, OJ Mayo, and Joe Johnson all square off. It was fun, it was different, but it was also relatable. To be short, I thought it was a good addition to All-Star Weekend. The funny thing is that people complained about this back then. Fast forward a few years and people want this to return. But of course I don't blame them because, after all, nostalgia is real. The point that I'm trying to make to you guys is that people are always going to complain no matter what. No matter how good or how bad something is. It was good seeing the NBA trying to be proactive. I think it's always better to be proactive and not reactive. They say if it's not broken, then don't fix it, but let's be honest, that's an outdated philosophy. And in this league, that's exactly how you fall behind. But perhaps I've been too positive. In the past, there may have been some things about All-Star Weekend that may have been broken. So I did a quick Google search on how to become an NBA All-Star. And the results that came up were a little too long to include in this video. So I'm going to give you guys the short version. Pretty much, you have to be one of the best players in the entire game of basketball. Well, the NBA is already a collection of the best players in the entire world. The point that I'm trying to make to you guys is that you have to be the best of the best. As if being just good in the NBA wasn't hard enough on its own. The odds of making the NBA out of college are 3 in 10,000. Do you know how many beasts I've seen in college just not make it to the next level? A lot. So you guys get it. Being an NBA All-Star is incredibly tough. If you wanted to take the hard way, what's the easy way, you ask? I'm more than happy to tell you. You see, in the 21st century, we have this thing, clout. If you do a quick Google search, the definition comes up. You don't want the first definition, you want the second one, and you want to make sure you're reading the noun definition. It says that clout is influence of power, especially in politics or business. Can I use that in a sentence? Yes. The Coop has no clout.
Correct!
There's also a cool song by Cardi B and Offset.
Do anything for clout. They do anything for clout.
Clout could be used to make the NBA All-Star game. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it's fun. In the past, you would be able to get voted into the All-Star game by the fans, and 100% by the fans. Nobody else. And I mean, of course, that's if you wanted to be a starter. The reserves, they had a different process. Becoming a starter was all fun and games until things started to get a little out of hand. Bleacher Report has a list of the top 10 most undeserving NBA All-Star starters of all time. Antoine Walker, Steve Francis, John Havlicek, Dick McGuire, Julius Erving, BJ Armstrong, AC Green, Kobe Bryant, Yao Ming, and Allen Iverson. It sucked to see some of my favorite players on this list. But at the same time, I mean, it was lit because who doesn't want these guys in the All-Star game? Kobe Bryant, until he left the league, was worth the price of admission. But I do understand why Kobe didn't want to play in it. Kobe would have much rather see the younger or much more deserving guys at the time get into the game. And I can't blame him. Imagine defying all the odds, working your whole life to become an NBA All-Star, and you end up losing to somebody simply because of clout. There's a lot of people that want Melo to be an All-Star this year, and I'm not talking about a special one like Dwayne Wade or Dirk Nowitzki. I thought those additions were really cool. Silver does some good stuff. He's not perfect, but you can tell that at times he's trying. While you can argue a lot of these players on this list may have not been deserving of All-Star games that year, for most of them their legacy tells a different story. But again, it's not a legacy game, it's an All-Star game. In 2013, Jeremy Lin was almost an All-Star. The rise of Linsanity was bigger than anything that I had ever seen before. It swept the league, and if you blinked, you might have missed it. And I use blinking very loosely. In 2013, Jeremy Lin came within 45,000 votes of surpassing prime Chris Paul, Los Angeles Clippers Chris Paul, Lob City Chris Paul, 19 and 10 Chris Paul. Lin said he was thankful that he didn't get voted in. He said when he makes it, he really wants to feel as if he deserves it. He had more votes than his teammate James Harden, and he even had more votes than Russell Westbrook, Tony Parker, and Stephen Curry. But even Jeremy Lin coming in third wasn't enough to change the voting process. The one player that made the NBA say enough is enough is Zaza Pachulia. Yeah, I'm talking about Zaza Pachulia. You know, the Zaza Pachulia that...
Again, that's what they call all the time when you get your feet into the landing space of the shooter.
Yeah, I'm talking about that Zaza Pachulia. So the NBA didn't just change the rule to keep Zaza out, but to keep instances like Zaza from happening in the future. Zaza was on pace to become the worst NBA All-Star starter of all time if the rule had never changed. He was second in front court votes, only trailing Kevin Durant. He had 1,528,941 votes. He even beat out Draymond Green, his own teammate. But of course the new system bumped him out and put a stop to all of this. The new system is a formula that weighs the fan votes so much less. So as fans, we can only do so much now. The player and the media vote are also now taken into account. Thursday, January 2nd, we received the first returns for the NBA All-Star Game voting. These returns had two players very high that might surprise you. And I'm not talking about one of the players from my recent video. 6 players that are surprising the NBA this season with an All-Star type year. At the time that I made this video, Tacko Fall was 6th in the All-Star fan voting for the Eastern Conference front court. He was ahead of players like Bam Adebayo, Gordon Hayward, and Domantas Sabonis, but he was also ahead of Andre Drummond, who's been having an incredible year. The scary thing is that I think Tacko is only going to rise up this list. I can't lie, I would love to see Tacko Fall in the All-Star game. He's one of the most unique players in the NBA. He's a towering presence at over 7'5". He has a wingspan longer than anybody else in the entire league. His wingspan rivals some of the greatest shot blockers to ever play the game. You have to see Tacko's per 36 stats to truly understand how dominant he can be. I honestly think if he ever gets consistent playing time and his stamina is on point, he can be a really, really good NBA player. But I could understand why some people wouldn't want Tacko Fall in the NBA All-Star game. There are some players having phenomenal seasons. Even if for some reason you thought Tacko Fall wasn't good, you'd have to admit he would be exciting to watch play. I've seen some really boring players in the All-Star game before. I mean, I love Tim Duncan and I loved watching the Spurs dominate over the years. People call them boring, but honestly, that's a fun style of basketball to watch. But Tim Duncan wasn't a good All-Star game player for me. I mean, hey, I was a kid. I wanted to see dunks and flash, unusual plays, not the big fundamental. Shout out to his post-career glow-up though. I do appreciate Tim Duncan and everything he's done for the game. And now, I wish I would have gotten to see more Tim Duncan All-Star games. Tacko's clout is real, and so is Alex Caruso's. Alex Caruso came in 8th for all guards in the Western Conference. More votes than Devin Booker and Ja Morant. Caruso is actually good at basketball. But everybody doesn't see that though. A lot of people look at Caruso as this giant meme, but the truth is he's a hooper. And he's kind of been a hooper. Don't let the 5.4 points a game this season fool you. But the 8th in the Western Conference might be a little deceiving. At this point, nobody should be surprised when Caruso rises up and throws one down on somebody. Unfortunately, unless the players or the media value clout as much as we do, there's no realistic option to getting these two into the All-Star game. But I mean, it is fun to imagine, right? The player vote is pretty interesting though. Last season, Lonzo Ball had 10, and And there were actually several players with 1, which leads us to believe that they voted for themselves. I'm looking at you, Nerlens Noel and Caldwell Pope.
I'm still thinking about that shot that KCP missed.
Imagine you could see which player voted for who. Let me know what All-Stars you guys want to see this season. And celebrities. I honestly enjoy the Celebrity All-Star game. Why have we not seen better celebrities? I don't know, maybe you guys like them? I want to see better. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now, guys. It's my latest video, you won't want to miss it. I'm GETLIKECOOP, be sure to subscribe, notice on, and I'm